Good afternoon. Today we'll take off an topic called work design. Now, before I start work design, what is an work design? First of all, work design is a systematic investigation that is contemplated and present work to formulate through ideal system concept. The easiest and most effective technique of achieving necessary goals. Job design is a function of specifying the work activities of an individual or group in an organization to develop job structures meeting the need of the organization and satisfying the job holder's personal requirement. For most of us, work is a major source of economic livelihood and human enrichment. Everyone works. The attitude towards work held by various individuals and different societies keep changing at various times in human history. In defining the work system, we could set boundaries to what must be effectively and efficiently managed. A work system brings together technical competence in the form of people, equipment to achieve the organizational objective. Work design is concerned with the study and design of work system in any of the organization or institution. Now, to have an idea about work design is nothing but it's an investigation, systematic investigation, how the present work is going on. To formulate through an ideal system, what should be the ideal system? What is the most easiest and which is the most effective technique for achieving necessary goals? Now, work design is necessarily concerned with the study and design of work system. What is the work system in an organization and institution? Work design refers to the content and organization of one's work task, activities, relationship, and responsibilities. Work design applies to physical, biomechanical, cognitive, and psychosocial characteristics of the job. So, work design refers to the content and organization of one's work task. What are the work tasks? What are the activities? What are the relationship and what are the responsibilities? Job design refers to the administrative changes that can help to improve the working condition. In comparison, workplace design concentrates on dealing with the workstation, the tools, and the body position that all influence the way a person does his or her work. So, job design refers to the administrative changes, what changes we require that can help to improve the working conditions. In comparison, workplace design concentrates on dealing with the workstation. Work design for increased productivity. Work design for increased productivity, the continued process of any enterprise is dependent on its ability to optimally and judicially allocate and utilize its resources so as to provide the desired product or services at the right time, place, price, quality, and quantity to the community. This requires an integrated approach. Efficiency and effectiveness springs from utility of purpose and the application of the right principles to a given situation. The effort of an enterprise should to raise the productivity. So, work design for increased productivity, continuous progress of any enterprise. If you want to progress, then it must optimally and judicially allocate and utilize its resources so as to provide desired product and services at the right time, place, price, quality, and quantity to the community. To raise the productivity and reduce activity, so as to ensure a higher standard of living, greater purchasing power, and enhance human dignity. This total spiral pattern of movement would hopefully lead to a better quality of life. Taylor had illustrated that high levels of productivity result in more quality goods at lower cost, which is the basis for lower prices, higher purchasing powers, real earnings, improvement in working, living conditions, and sometimes even shorter working hours. So, if you can raise the productivity and reduce activity, so it will lead to various things, just like our standard of living will improve, we'll have greater purchasing power and enhanced human dignity. This total spiral pattern of movement would hopefully lead to better quality of life. Taylor had illustrated that high levels of productivity result in more good qualities. All organizations need increased productivity. They must continually seek better and less expensive ways to perform their function and tasks if they hope to survive in increasingly competitive and quality conscious economy. It is hoped that increasing the effectiveness of accomplishing work reduces the actual cost of the work, which makes the resulting product or service available to more individuals, which in turn increases the demand for work and hopefully leads to generation of work and employment. So all organizations need increased productivity. They must continually seek better and less expensive ways to perform their functions. So if all organizations need increased productivity, they must continuously seek better and less expensive way. And if they hope to survive in an increasingly competitive and quality conscious economy, so increasing the effectiveness of accomplishing work reduces the actual cost of the work. In fact, productive activities are the primary source of material benefits. These benefits from the increased productivity are shared by the employers, managers, owners, entrepreneurs, consumers, society at large. They are non-material benefit also, which might, after a stage, assume greater importance. We'd leave some of these aspects to be discussed in job design. So go on to discuss the work system design in the belief that work exists and it would have to be done in a better way. So productive activities are primary source of material benefit. So this benefit, if you are doing some productive activities, it will help the employees. Employees will get higher wages, managers will get wages, owners will get profit, entrepreneurs also give profit, consumers will get good quality product at a cheaper rate, and above all, the society at large will be benefited if productive activities takes place in the society. There are non-material benefit also, which might after a stage assume greater importance. We'll leave some of these aspects to be discussed in job design. Now, work problems do not exist without work. Work does not exist without the desire to render a service or manufacture a product which is needed by someone, somewhere at the same time. Certain resources like men, machines, materials, money, methods, and management are to be so organized as to produce the desired output effectively and efficiently. Work problems usually originate within the individual workstation. However, the non-material machine combination, which is at the center of almost every work problem, is only a part of the entire organization or work system, which itself is a part of yet a larger super system. Most work systems or subsystems are essentially an open system. Therefore, there is a great deal of complexity in the forces of interaction and reaction. The magnitude of these forces is determined by the value structure associated with the work system. The quantifiability and even adequate identification of these forces is rather difficult. The system conceptualization is ideal, but sometimes impregn- impregnable. In addition to the system is the method, which is also important in work design. Man material machine combination is the center of almost every work problem, is only a part of the entire organization's and war system, which itself is a part of a larger super system. So, the magnitude of these forces is determined by the value structure associated with the war system. In fact, work design is a systematic investigation of the contemplated and present war system to formulate through the ideal system concept the easiest and most effective system and methods for achieving necessary functions, goals, and purpose. Nadler proposes the following five work design assumptions or philosophies. Increasing productivity and developing manpower effectiveness are the objectives of studying work system. So first objective is increasing the productivity, and how the manpower should be effectively used are the most primary objective. Work systems can be encountered in three states of condition. It should be designed properly, it should be betterment, and it should be improved. All aspects of the work system, regardless of the system level, are to be considered in work design. People, their abilities and talents are integral part of work design. This results from the recognition that people at all levels can really understand many of even the most involved techniques and situations. So, increase productivity and developing manpower effectiveness. Then work systems can be encountered in three states of condition. Three states or condition: design, betterment, and improvement. All aspects of the work system, regardless of the system level, are to be considered in work. Work design does not advocate the use of any particular set of techniques. That means is not in favor of any particular set of techniques. War system and their components are to be studied continually. Since a system involves a multitude of components, it would appear that each function of the enterprise, though its specific system, would take a segregated part of the total project or study and accomplish its function within the framework of its specific objectives for increased productivity and higher effectiveness. Among the numerous techniques available for enhancing productivity, one is the work study, which is perhaps one of the most popularly used techniques. No doubt, the success of these techniques lies in simplicity as well as the method and scope of its application. It cannot possibly exist in a vacuum. It must be a part of an overall program with due support from the management and employees that encourages increased productivity for specific reason so as to finally provide higher standard living and human dignity and quality of life. So, there are various techniques available for work design. Work design, already I have told you, is a system by which we can improve the work, we can make the work easy. So, if you go through the literature of job work design, we can find a lot of techniques are available. And one of the most important technique is your work study. And why it is important? Because it is popularly used in various organizations. No doubt, the success of the technique lies in simplicity. It is very simple. as well as the method and scope of its application. It cannot possibly exist in a vacuum. It must be a part of an overall program with due support from management and employees that encourages increased productivity for specific reasons so as to finally provide a higher standard of living, human dignity, and quality of life. Work study approach or work analysis is the discipline of industrial engineering. That means work study started in industrial engineering that uses various techniques to quantitatively measure or estimate work to increase the amount produced from a given quantity of resources by improving the use of the resources. So, work study or work analysis is the discipline of industrial engineering that uses various techniques to quantitatively measure or estimate the work to increase the amount produced from a quantity of resources by improving the use of the resources. That means work study is a method or a technique by which we, we quantitatively measure or estimate the work to increase the amount produced. Whatever amount we are producing previously, we try to increase the amount produced from a given quantity of resources. How we do that? By improving the use of the resources. Work study is defined as the body of knowledge concerned with the analysis of the work method and the equipment used in performing a job, the design of an optimum work method, and the standardization of proposed work method. 3 to 4 things are very important. Work study is defined as the body of knowledge concerned with analysis of the work method. What is the present method going on? What are the equipments used in performing the job? Then, by analyzing, we will find out which is the best or the optimum work method. And once that method is called as an optimum method, we will standardize the proposed work method. So, first one is analyzing the present work method. Second is the equipment used in performing a job. Third is design of a optimum work method. Fourth one is standardization of proposed work method. Now, objectives of work study. First objective is, as I've already told in the definition, first is to analyze the present method of doing a job systematically in order to develop a new and better method. So first objective of work method is to analyze what is the present way of doing a job and how and systematically in order to develop a new and better method. Why do you analyze the present method? So that we can develop a new or better method. To measure the work content of a job, what are the content of a job? What are the different contents of a job? Measuring the time required to do the job by qualified worker, hence to establish the standard time. Second is what are the different contents of a job, and content means what are the elements, what are the components of a particular job, and what are the time required to do a job by a qualified worker. Qualified worker is defined, they have necessary qualification, experience, is called a qualified worker, and hence to establish a standard time. To increase the productivity by ensuring the best possible use of human, machine, and material resources, and to achieve best quality product service at the minimum possible cost, and to improve the operational efficiency. So there are 4 important objectives. First is to analyze the present, then we have to measure the work content of a job, then measuring the time required to do the job, and to increase the productivity by ensuring the best possible use of the human, machine, and material resources, and to achieve the best quality products and service at the minimum possible cost. Work study is indeed an important tool for achieving higher productive efficiency of an organization in a scientific manner. Work study is a generic term for those techniques, particularly method study and work measurement, which are used in the examination of human work in all its context and which lead systematically to the investigation of all the facts which affect the efficiency and economy of the situation being reviewed in order to affect improvement. So, work study is indeed an improvement is an important tool for achieving higher productivity efficiency of an organization in a scientific manner. Work study is a generic term for those techniques, particularly method study and work measurement, which are used in the examination of human work in all its contexts and which lead systematically to the investigation of all the facts which affect efficiency and economy of the situation being reviewed in order to affect method study, the systematic recording and critical examination of the existing and the proposed way of doing a work as a means of developing and applying easier and more effective methods and reducing cost. So, what is method study? Method study is nothing but a systematic recording and critical examination of the existing. We will critically examine what is the existing method and what is the new or the proposed methods of doing work as a means of developing and applying easier and more effective methods and reducing cost. So, method study is the recording and critical examination and of the existing and proposed way of doing a work as a means of developing and applying easier and more effective methods and reducing cost. Work measurement, the application of techniques designed to establish the time for a qualified worker to carry out a specified job at a definite level of performance. The main objective of work study is to improve the effectiveness of important parameters of production such as men, machines, and so work measurement, the application of techniques designed to establish the time for a qualified worker. What time a qualified worker will take to carry out a specified job at a definite level of performance. The main objective of the work study is to improve the effectiveness of important parameters such as men, machines, and methods. So we'll again see what is method study, what is work study. So there are four things. Work study is a tool for achieving higher productivity efficiency by measuring the efficiency in a scientific. Work study is a generic term of those techniques, particularly method study, which are used in the examination of human work. Method study is systematic recording and critical examination of the existing and proposed way of doing work. And work measurement, the application of techniques designed to establish the time for a qualified worker to carry out a specified job. Method study and work measurements are closely linked. Method study is concerned with the reduction of work content of the operations. And while work measurement is concerned with the investigation, reduction of the ineffective time and subsequent establishment of time standard. So they are interlinked in the way both are, say, in a way related to increase the or decrease the time of the work. Method study is concerned with reduction in work content. If a work is a complex, the method study is to do the work simple by reducing the contents of the work. While work measurement is concerned with the investigation and reduction of the ineffective time and subsequent establishment of time standards for the operations on the basis of the work content as established by method study. Usually, a method study should precede work measurement. That means before we do a work measurement, we should conduct a method study. However, when time standards for output are being set, it is often necessary to use one of the work measurement techniques like watt sampling in order to determine where ineffective time is occurring and is extend so that management action can be taken to eliminate it even before going in for the method study. Equally, on the other hand, time study may be used to compare the effectiveness of alternative methods. So, method study and work measurement are closely linked. Method study is concerned with reduction of work content. Work measurement is concerned with the investigation. Where are the ineffective time? We make a thorough investigation. Thereby, we try to reduce the ineffective time. Thereby, subsequently, we establish the standard time. And we must conduct a method study before we conduct a work measurement. However, when time standards for output are being set, it is often necessary to use one of the work measurement techniques like watt sampling in order to determine where ineffective time is occurring. Now, there are different work study procedures. Basic work study procedures are there are 8 basic steps, some of which are common for both method study and work measurement. First, we do a selection of a work. Generally, we don't select all the works. Which work we should select? Then record, then examine, develop, measure, define, install, and maintain. So, select the job or process or operation to be studied. Now, there is a criteria for selecting a job or process. We don't select all the jobs. In an organization, there are various jobs. All jobs are not necessary for your method study or your is work study. Now, basically the jobs which have a problem, which is in bottleneck, which creates some problem in the organization, which is a bottleneck in the organization, that type of studies are generally selected for work study. Once you select that job, second process is come your recording. What you record? Record all relevant facts about the job of the process or operation using suitable charting techniques such as operation process chart, flow process chart. There are different techniques where we can record all relevant facts. Generally, theoretically speaking, who is doing the job, at what time the job is done, what are the frequency of the job, isn't it? Now, all types of relevant facts about the job and process or operation using suitable, we collect or we record all types of relevant facts about the job which are available in the organization. Then examine critically all the recorded facts, questioning the purpose, place, sequence, person, means of doing the job, process, and operations. So, examine critically all the recorded facts. We have recorded all the facts where the job is done, place, where the sequence of after which the job is conducted, who is doing the job, and by what means the job is, we have all recorded in the second stage. And examine all these recorded facts in the third stage. We examine all the facts what are. So first is select the job or process or operation to be studied. Generally, we select those jobs which is a problem for the organization. Record all relevant facts about the job, process or operations. Examine critically all the recorded facts, questioning the purpose, place, sequence, person and the means of doing the job. Develop the new methods for the job, process and operations. So after examining, we make a development of the new method. We make a new method for the job. Measure the work content. What are the different contents of the job and establish the standard time using an appropriate work measurement technique. Then define the new method for the job, process and operation. Then define in the defining who will do the job, at what place the job will be done, and what is the process or method of doing the job, all should come under the definition. Define the new method, job process, and install the new method as a standard practice. That means as a standard practice in future, if such jobs will be conducted or be undertaken by new method only, the old method will not be, say, adopted, and maintain the new method for the job process or operations. So these are basically certain, say, steps which you first, again I am highlighting, we have to select, record, and examine, then we develop, then we measure the work content, then define the new method, install, and maintain. Now, what are the benefits of work study we get? The most and important benefits: increase productivity and operational efficiency. Reduce material cost. That means we use, by reducing the content of the job, we reduce the raw materials requirement. Thereby, we reduce the material cost. Improved workplace layout. That means the design of the workplace is improved. Better manpower planning and capacity planning. Fair wages to the employees. We give, say, structured wages to the employees. Better working condition to the employees. Improved workflow. So these are the benefits we derive. Increased productivity, operational efficiency, we can reduce the material cost, improved workplace layout, better manpower planning and capacity planning. Then we give fair wages, better working condition to the employees, and improve. You will recall from the previous section that techniques of method study aim essentially to do three things: reveal and analyze fully the facts concerning any situation, examine the facts critically, and develop from the examination of facts the best possible answer under the circumstances. So, method study has three things: reveal and analyze fully the facts concerning any situation, and examine the facts critically. And from that we develop from the examination of fact the best possible answer under the circumstances. The finding of method study should definitely result in better utilization of manpower and other tangible resources. It should also have identified bottleneck activities and initiated necessary action to minimize, if not totally eliminate, the bottlenecks. However, while making suggestions for improvement, economy in human effort, the reduction of unnecessary fatigue, the development of a better physical working environment should be taken note of. Some of these C aspects have been discussed in the following unit on job design method study. In its generalized field of activity can also be better termed as work simplification. So, the findings of method study will result in better utilization of manpower and other tangible resources. Or it would also have identified bottleneck activities. What are the bottleneck activities? And initiated necessary action to minimize, if not totally eliminate, the bottlenecks. The following section deals with a definite and ordered sequence of different stages as under. Number 1, identification. Number 2, recording. Number 3, examination. Number 4, development. Number 5, installation. As mentioned above, the first stage is the selection of work to be studied, which is primarily based on economic consideration, technical consideration, human consideration. Economic considerations are important. The obvious areas of applications of method studies are bottlenecks, excessive movement, operations involving repetitive work, excessive work in process, and unsafe work conditions. So the first thing It identify those jobs where certain economic considerations are there. So the obvious areas of application are where there are bottlenecks, where there is problem, where there is excess movement of the materials and human being, operations involving repetitive work, the work which is repeated again and again, excessive work in process, and unsafe work condition. That means the work conditions are very unsafe. The most important thing in technical consideration is to ensure the availability of relevant technical knowledge with which to make the study. Human considerations and reactions need to be accounted for too. Method study will be more readily accepted if the first subjects or jobs are unpopular, ones such as dirty jobs having many allied unpleasant features. If the study improve this type of jobs by reducing the unpleasantness, effort and fatigue, then method study, work study will be welcome. If, however, the study of a particular job appears to be leading to unrest or ill feeling, then leave it alone. Wait for an appropriate time for switch over to alternative subject. So, when you method study, when you apply, we have three consideration: economic consideration, technical consideration. Economic consideration, we say we search for the bottlenecks, we search for the excessive movement, we search for the operations involving repetitive work, and in technical consideration to available or relevant technical knowledge with which to make study. Human consideration is to make the works more pleasant, and we should eradicate or you should get rid of the unpopular such as dirty jobs having many allied unpleasant features. Is the study improve this type of jobs by reducing unpleasantness, effort and fatigue, then method study, work study will be welcome. The conventional system and definition of activities used in work analysis: standard symbol, name of the activity. Yes. And operations occurs whenever something is produced or a task is accomplished. An object is intentionally changed in any one of its physical or chemical characteristics, is assembled or disassembled from another object. An operation also occurs when information is given or received, when planning or calculation takes place. Operations could be do type or make ready type or put away type. There is a standard symbol. Name of the activity is transportation. A transportation occurs when an object is moved from it is marked by arrow mark from one operation to another, from one place to another, except when such movements are part of the operations or are caused by the operator at the workstation during the operations or inspection. The standard symbol is, say it's a rectangle. The name of the activity is inspection. Definition of activity and inspection occurs when either a qualitatively or quantitatively appraisal or verification is made. Whether a product is good or bad, we quantitatively or qualitatively verify or appraise the products. So, name of the activity: inspection. Definition of activity and inspection occurs when either qualitative and quantitative appraisal or verifications. Yes, delay occurs to an object when conditions except those which intentionally change the chemical or physical characteristics of the object do not allow or require immediate performance of the next planned step. It is essentially a temporary storage which describes a state of inactivity and has an interference. Storage occurs when the object is kept and protected against the unauthorized removal. The difference between storage and delay is often fine. Material is formally committed to storage, but it is informally delayed. Combined activity. A combined activity occurs when two activities occur simultaneously. Various combination of simultaneous occurrence of two activities could be possible. When a job has been selected and detailed, the extent of the investigation decided, the systematic analysis of the work is begun. A record is to be made of all the relevant facts relating to the present method, which would have to be subjected to a critical examination. But before that, let us discuss the models of sequence or flow of work, which are best understood by most persons when presented pictorially. After record comes examine. In this method, problems are typically solved by examining critically and systematically the facts that have been collected and recorded in some form of process charts. Close examination of the events, activities in any working situation usually reveals a number of key stages in the progress of the job. After developing the alternative, a final selection based on an appropriate criteria is to be done in order to develop the new method. This approved method can be drawn up in a process chart form. This is then compared with the existing method. A summary of the number of operations, delays, inspection, storage, total distance should be made. We will invariably find that there would be considerable reduction in the non-productive areas. The proposals for improvement can now be submitted for approval. And so you can reach the final stage of method study. Installation can be divided into 5. Gain the acceptance of changes by the departmental supervision. Gain approval of the change by works and general management. Gain acceptance of change by workers involved and their representatives. Retain the works to operate new methods. Continual monitoring or whether or not the new method is being used. Then you come to work measurement. Work measurement is concerned with the determination of the amount of time required to perform a unit of work. It provides management with a basis for comparison of alternative methods, also a basis for initial manning. So, work measurement is concerned with the determination of the amount of time. We generally measure the time required to complete a job. It provides management with a basis for comparison of alternative methods and also a basis for initial manning. Moreover, it makes available the necessary data for effective planning and scheduling and provides a basis for wage and salary administration, especially for devising sound incentive schemes. Work measurement procedures. The basic steps to be followed sequentially for work measurement are: select the work to be studied after having made a preliminary survey. Generally, we make a work measurement for those works which have bottlenecks, which have, say, creates problem for the human beings, where there are unpleasant work are there. Record all relevant data pertaining to the circumstances in which the work is being done, the methods and the elements of the activity in them. That means you have to record all the relevant data relating to the circumstances, in what condition the work is being done, what methods are being applied, and what are the elements of the activity in them. Measure each element in terms of time over a sufficient number of cycles of activity to ensure that the representative picture has to be obtained. Examine the recorded data and time elements critically to ensure that unproductivity or random elements are separated from productive elements. Also examine the recorded times for each element and determine a representative time for each. So, first you have to select the work to be studied, record all the relevant data pertaining to the circumstances in which the work is being done. Then measure each element in terms of time over a sufficient number of over a sufficient number of cycles of activity to ensure that a representative picture has been obtained. Examine the recorded data and time elements critically to ensure that unproductivity or random elements are separated from the productive elements. Also examine the recorded times for each element and determine a representative time for each. Compile a time for the operations which will provide a realistic standard of performance and will include time allowances to cover suitable rest, personal needs, and contingency, and define precisely the series of activity and method of operations for which the time has been allowed and issue the standard time for the activities and the method specified. So, there are six. First, you have to select, and after making a preliminary studies, then record all relevant data, measure each element in terms of time over a sufficient number of cycles. That means we should not measure the time in one cycle. We should have a number of cycles of activity to ensure that the representative picture, we can take an average time. We should, for example, if I observe the work for 10 times, 10 cycles, I can find out 10 times and I can find an average or examine the recorded data and time elements critically to ensure that unproductivity on random elements are separated from productive elements. Compile a time for the operations which will provide a realistic standard of performance and will include the time allowances. Generally, we provide certain allowances. Allowances to, why do you provide? Because human beings are not machines. They require some refreshment, nature calls. So they may go for a, say, a refreshment like tea, or in between they have to take some rest, their personal needs, contingencies. For that we have to, and lastly, define precisely the series of activities. Now, techniques of work measurement. The principal techniques the principal techniques used to measure work are time study, work sampling, predetermined motion time system, analytical estimating, synthesis from the standard data, and lastly most. It is based on the statistical method first devised by L.S.T. Tippett in 1934, who used this method for determining the causes of loom stoppages while working for the British Cotton Industry Research Institute. Work sampling is a fact finding tool and measurement technique for quantitative analysis in terms of time of the activity of operators and machines or any observable state or condition of operations. So, it is based on the statistical method first devised by L.S.T. Tippett, and who used this method for determining the causes for loom stoppages while working in the British cotton industries. Users of work sampling obtain information about either certain long cycle work or non-repetitive type of work for which it would be clearly impracticable to use continuous observation methods. Indicative certain activities should be studied in details. Number 3, help design the workload distribution in formulating a new work system. Study any operations for possible methods of improvement. Help to establish job content as an aid to job evaluation and employment purposes. Aid supervisors to organize their time. Add appraisal of staff effectiveness, efficiency, safety, performance, and etc. Provide feedback information about the compliance to stated management policies. Assist in establishing standard of performance, establish control on labor, materials, or machine utilizations. So we have lot of uses of work sampling. Many company go for where obtaining information of other long certain long cycle work. That means we stop a very long time from to complete to find out the output, or those jobs which are non-repetitive jobs, those are done once, so we cannot make a continuous observation method. So work sampling is the only method. Indicate if certain activities should be studied in details. Work sampling gives an idea whether certain activities should be studied in details. Help to design the workload distribution in formulating a new work system. Study any operations for possible methods improvement. So fourth one, we study any operations for possible methods improvement. Help to establish job content as an aid to job evaluation and employment purposes. Aid supervisors to organize their time. Add appraisal of shop effectiveness, efficiency, safety, performance, and etc. Provide feedback information about compliance to stated management policy. Assist in establishing standard of performance. Then comes job design. Job design is conscientiously planned structuring of work effort performed by an individual or team of persons. Good job design must answer the job related questions such as to what work is to be performed, who is to perform the work, where the work is to be done, when the work is to be done, why the job is necessary, how should the work be completed or accomplished. Job designers usually attempt to minimize the amount of physical human effort. Years ago, employers looked for workers with the physical capabilities to suit a given task. Today, jobs are designed to suit an average worker and capability. Distinctions are more likely to be on the basis of educations and experience. So, job design is consciously planned structuring of work effort. So, job design is related to work effort performed by an individual or team of operators. So, when you make a good job design, it must answer to very important, pertinent question as to what work is to be performed, what type of work, where the work is to be done, when the time, why the job is necessary, whether the job is necessary, in what way the organization will be benefited by this job, how should the work be completed or accomplished. Designers usually attempt to minimize the amount of physical human effort. Years ago, employers looked for workers with the physical capabilities to suit a job task. The objective of job design, therefore, to develop work assignment that meet the requirements of the organizations and the technology, and the same time also satisfy the personal individual requirements of the job holders. Another important concept is ergonomics. Ergonomics is somewhat synonymous with human factors with engineering, which is a field of study concerned with the ability and limitation of human beings in the design of tools, instruments, and workplaces. Yes. So there is still time of 5 minutes. We can say I started with my say deliberation. What is job studies? Now very important is method study. Method study is important concept. Again, I am saying the following section deals with a definite and order sequence of different a definite set and order sequence, and there are identification, recording, examination, development, and installations. And there are in identification we have three important considerations: economic consideration, technical consideration, and human considerations. Economic considerations are related to human factors, isn't it? the application of method study, bottleneck, excessive movement, operation, repetitive work, that then human factors are considered with human factors, and economic considerations are concerned with economic factors, and technical considerations are concerned with the technical factors as well as the availability of the relevant knowledge which can make this study. Then there are certain activity. Number one activity is your, say, transportation. The standard symbol is your arrow mark. When you transport material from one place to another, one operation to another operations, or one place to another, we generally symbolize with an arrow mark. And inspection, whether our products are good or bad, name of the activity is inspection. Delay, whenever there is a delay in the process, we also say, and when condition accept those, intentionally change the chemical, so do not allow the required immediate performance. Then storage, another operations, when the object is kept and protected on unauthorized removal. Then there are certain activities which are combinedly done, two or more activities are combinedly done. Then we go to recording, we record all relevant informations. Then we examine whatever after record examine, we examine critically and systematically that been collected. Then we develop after alternative that are consequence. Then installation, once we develop, we go for installation. Then work measurement is a very important concept. Again, I am saying work measurement is considered as the amount of time which is required to do a particular work. Then it provides management with a basis for comparison of alternative methods. That means in work measurement, we devise different alternative methods and we find out which method is taking the less time. Moreover, it makes available the planning necessary for effective planning and scheduling and provide a basis for wage and salary administration. That means work measurement is very handy technique where the job should start and when it should be completed. And it also is method for sound incentive scheme. That means a bonus or some productive bonus or productive allowances can be paid to the worker who can do the work efficiently or who can follow a standard time. Then work measurement has also 5 to 6 procedures: select, record, measure, examine, and lastly there will be definite. Then there is a different techniques of work measurement: time study, work sampling, PMTS, analytical estimating, synthesis from standard data, and most. Then another concept is work sampling, that is LSC Tippett in 1934. Then uses of work sampling, it is also an important concept, work sampling. Then comes job design. Job design is conceptually planned, structuring the work effort performed by an individual or a team of persons. Good job designs must answer the job related questions such as what work is to be performed, who is to perform the work, where the work is to be done, when the work is to be done, why the job is necessary. All these are important in job design. Then the objectives of job design is to develop work assignment that meet the requirements. Then lastly, while discussing about ergonomics is somewhat synonymous to human factors. It is same as the human factors, which is a field of study with the abilities and limitations of human being in the design of tools and instruments. So thank you very much for today's discussion.